Get started. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Conquer Your Content. For those that are a little less familiar with Good Deeds Day, we are a global movement of doing good that takes place in over 100 countries around the world. And our mission is that we help compassionate global citizens who desire living in a better world to take impactful action by providing resources, inspiration, and a global network. Because we believe that every person has the power to create positive change in their community and our world. And I just want to thank you all for joining us today, for making time in your schedules to be part of this workshop. I'm really excited to introduce you to the Good Deeds Day team here. That's going to be helping as we go and assisting. I'd first like to give a very warm welcome to everyone that's part of the Points of Light Network that's joining us today. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Andrea, for this partnership with you guys, and also for those that are part of other networks such as Yave and others that are also here with us. I'm Hannah. Together with Kanan, we lead Good Deeds Day around the world. Also here as part of the Good Deeds Day team that you probably have heard from in various emails over the last few weeks are Tova here. You guys can like wave, snap, whatever you want to do with your hands, put them in the camera. Tova here runs our partnerships. Zoe over here, who you're going to hear a lot from today, runs all of our content and digital marketing. Anna runs partnerships in Asia and Europe. And Layla, who you don't see on the screen yet, is part of the Latin America team. So thanks to the Good Deeds Day team in advance. Kanan, I'd like to introduce you guys to Kanan here, who will kick us off.
Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm so happy to be here today on this workshop that we're doing. And so happy again for the partnership with Points of Light and Yave. And I'm happy to see so many people from the different networks coming. In Good Deeds Day, our aim is to spread the good in the world, bring more people into the circles, and inspire more people. And I think the workshop today talks about the inspiration, talks about how we take our story and magnify it and boost it to get to more people, to inspire more people to do good. And this is our aim here. All of us are doing great work. Some of the participants, I even know the story behind when I see you here on the screen. But when we take this story, our personal story, our personal story of our life, or our personal story of our volunteer work, and we can amplify it and bring it to more and more people around the world, I believe more people will connect and start doing good and start volunteering. And this is really the big goal of this workshop today. I want us to shout out our stories. I want us that the whole world will hear our stories, and there is a better way to do it. And this is what we will learn today. And I hope our tools that we're giving you will help you tell your story in a better way and get to more and more people. Again, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be part of our workshop. We'll be very happy to hear your feedback in the end, and we'll be very happy to do more workshops that supports our great work of volunteering and doing good. So have a great workshop, and thank you very much for being here today.
Thanks, Kanan. We've got a poll kicking us off. So if everyone that's just joining could take a quick second to answer that, that would be great. And I would like to turn it over to Zoe. Take us away.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Kanan. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to see your faces. My name is Zoe Flammenbaum. I've been with Good Deeds Day as the digital marketing human since July, but I'm working in the digital marketing world for 8 years. And I see from the poll that there are people here who are not at all familiar with content and very familiar with content. So Whether you know anything, whether you heard these terms before, whether you're new or whether you've been in this industry, there's always something new to learn. There's always something new to remember. And you might be very new to this information. You might have heard this information 40, 50, 60 times. But today I invite you to really listen, see what sticks today. And hold on, let's see what else. Oh, okay, good. Most of you are really, really ready to conquer your content. Only 1% have said eek. So this content is a very overwhelming world. Social media, digital marketing, there's lots of different platforms, information, apps, technologies. So we want to kind of take that overwhelm today and wrap it up in a bow and really give each of us, each of you, a process to organize our minds around content and creation. Today we're actually, you should have been sent a worksheet and a link. So we're actually going to use that worksheet throughout this workshop. So I invite you to also make sure that that worksheet is opened up and ready to go. This isn't going to be really lecture style. This isn't going to be us giving you the fish. This is going to be us bringing you to the water and teaching you how to fish. And hopefully after this workshop, you'll have the tools and the process to be able to go and really dive into your content planning, your content creation, and your content producing in a way that feels clear and focused and organized and less overwhelming, let's say. So Tova dropped the link in the chat, so feel free to go ahead and open that. I'm going to start sharing my screen. And in case you need a reminder, I invite you to head to the content planning schedule worksheet. This is what it looks like. And you can go ahead and you can file, make a copy, and you can name it your organizational name, and then it's yours to work on for the rest of content planning life. So go ahead and do that now, and we'll get there in a moment. Let's just start our presentation. Give me a thumbs up if you're feeling ready to conquer your content. Woohoo. All right. So also just as a note, I know conquering your content from A to Z, it's a very bold request. So what we're going to do today is really, we're going to zoom out. We're going to start with the big foundation and the big mission and the big goals. We're going to zoom in to that small piece of content that we actually want to take our big idea and really create a post and a story around it. And then we're going to touch on a lot of different points. So this is about the process. So I invite you, as we kind of dive into this workshop, to take notes and to also really think about where you are right now in your content creation plan. What's coming up for you? What events are you organizing? What are your missions? What are your goals right now? And how can you best use this information to really help zone in and focus in on a current goal or mission? We've broken today down in 3 different sections. So we're going to be talking about planning, how to plan out our content, how to organize our mind around where to even start. Number 2 is producing, again, that zooming in and actually focusing on that one social media post, and then how to share it out. Once we have the content, what do we do with it? And then we'll have time at the end for final thoughts and any questions. And as a general note, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, drop them in the chat. We have the amazing Good Deeds Day team, which is ready and on hand to field all questions or send them my way. And I really wish that we were all sitting together in one room. But for now, this is the best that we can do. So really feel free to interact and use your voice and engage and ask questions. I'm here to be a resource for you. So if there's something that you don't understand or you want to dive deeper in, raise your hand or let us know. So first, let's get started with this idea of content and storytelling. This is kind of where we are today. And when I think of content, I think of it as the most modern way to connect, right? And when I think of story, I think of it as the most ancient way to connect. So back in the day, we used to sit around the campfire and we used to hear stories and we used to feel connected and related and kind of lean into this one universal idea. And today we can't all sit around a campfire for many different reasons, but we can all join in on a mission or a cause or a Zoom call or a group online. And so content is really a powerful tool to connect with people who we wouldn't have been able to connect with if we were just sitting around those, those campfires. And so when we blend the world of content and storytelling, it becomes a really powerful tool, especially in today's world. I think people are seeking connection, craving connection, and impact and causes and missions are our driving force, right? They become our purpose. They're why we show up to work every day. So when we blend these worlds of content and storytelling with our missions and our goals, it becomes something that people can connect to, even if it is a Facebook post. So that's our goal today. Just for your knowledge, there's lots of different types of content. There's infographics and lists and blog posts and podcasts and videos and photos and guides and ebooks, and you can see the list is really endless. So for today's for today's workshop, we're going to keep it very, very simple, and we're just going to focus on creating a social media post. So I invite you to think about your channel and your audience and where you'd like to create this post. And also know that in this world, there are always going to be millions of options. But really, when we know where our power is, what our resources are, and what it is we want to share, then we can better focus on what kind of content we want to create. So also by the end of this workshop, hopefully you'll know more about the kind of content that is really important for you to create and focus on. Of course, content is not just one layer. It's a whole world. And the way people connect to our content is also different layers. It takes about 6 times for someone to see an email and actually click and actually be interested and actually get involved and engage. So with the 5,000 messages that we humans see per day that are kind of just being thrown at us on our screens, people are ready for different things at different times. So this is kind of the content funnel that exists. So, there's awareness, which is someone just seeing your post and noticing it. Then there's interest, which is when someone actually sees your post and becomes ready to engage. They read all the way, they click see more. Then there's the next layer, which is desire. Someone actually expresses desire. They want to maybe know more about what you're doing. Maybe they give you a like or a share or a comment. And then there's the action. And the action is, kind of why we're all here, right? We want to motivate people to take action. So what is that action in terms of our organizational missions? Is it getting more volunteers? Is it signing up for our newsletter? Is it checking out our website? Is it sharing a specific post? So these are all the different types of content that exist. And it's also just to say that like we're in this process with content creation, people who are reading our posts are also in a process. So we have to be able to engage all of the people wherever they are in the process. All right, does anyone have any questions until now, or should we dive into phase 1 of our planning process? I can't see the, hold on, let me see if I can see the chat. Okay, all right, so I don't see any questions. So let's keep on keeping on. And honestly, phase one is really the most important phase of our content planning process, because, well, here are the reasons, right? There are a few things that we need to know before we can really dive into the content creation process. Number one, we need to know why we want to create content. We need to know our goals. It's kind of like when I think about our goals, I often think about kind of like a target board. And you know how you throw the arrow at the target board. So we need to know what we're throwing our arrow at and why. So our goals are very important, because when we start at the why and the end of our greater mission, then we can work our way back into how we really build out our content plan. The second thing we need to know is our pillars and our points. And this is when we get really much more specific when it comes to what are the themes we want to share, what are the topics that we care about as an organization, and that we want to really start our conversation around. And the third thing that we need when it comes to planning is to create our schedule, because if we don't have a schedule, if we don't make time for it, then things don't really seem to happen. And so often, you know, the social media, digital marketing world is very 24/7. So in order to kind of escape the overwhelm and really get clear and organize our minds around how to even begin this content planning process, schedule is the key. All right, so now we're going to kind of dive deeper into each of these tools. First of all, an important thing to mention when I say goals, there's a difference between the organizational goal and your mission, and then our marketing goals and our social media goals, right? So we can think about our greater mission, which is Good Deeds Day wants to empower organizations to do more good with educational resources, inspiration, and a global network, okay? But how do we translate that into social media goals? What does that mean in terms of why we're online, right? So here's just a handy dandy little graph that shows the common reasons why people are online. Most people are online to increase their brand awareness, to get more eyes on your brand, to get more eyes on your mission, and to just get the word out as much as possible. There's also sales and lead generation, right? We want to be able to connect with different people who are interested. So when we say lead generation, we might not make sales or have products if we're a nonprofit organization, but we do need new volunteers, and we do fundraise, and we do maybe want different sponsors or partners. So how do we kind of build up our network and kind of create more leads for people who are really interested in what we have to offer? Another goal is to increase community engagement. So this is those comments, those shares, those likes, how people engage with us online. This is one of the top goals. Another goal is to grow my brand's audience. So again, this is Facebook page followers, Instagram followers. This is our reach. This is how we really maintain our current audience, but also expand our reach. And the last goal is to increase web traffic, which is, if we think about it, our websites are really the hub of all of our information and our learning. So how can we use social media as a tool to get people to want to learn more and visit our websites? And as I'm speaking here, I also want to invite you to start thinking about your social media goals. Because now in a moment, it's going to be your turn to fill in the sheet. But I just want to show you an example from Good Deeds Day. So this is an example from us. So first of all, you'll see the goal here. Our number one goal is brand awareness. We want to make sure as many people know about Good Deeds Day as possible, right? So we just want to make sure that we're reaching as many people, and that looks like trying to get as many people to follow our social channels and to grow our reach. Our second goal is audience engagement. We want to connect with our people. We want to feel our volunteers and our organizations on the other side and make sure that we're offering what they need to do good. So the more comments, the more shares, the more likes we get, the more feedback and engagement we get from our audience. This is a huge goal for us. And goal number 3 is website traffic. We have a whole hub of resources and information and blogs and opportunities on our website. And so one of our main goals for using social media is leading people to our website so they can read the blog or they can learn more or register for our next event. And you can also see here that with every goal, we're very clear on what the call to action is and the metrics that matter. Because there's lots of different ways to, we all have different goals, right? But these metrics are how we know that we're achieving those goals. So obviously, if we see a specific post is being super engaging, we want to create more of a post like that. Does anyone have any questions on this before we send you to the worksheet for your turn? Because what I'd like you to do now is head to that first tab, which says goals. You'll see the example of social media goals from Good Deeds Day. And then if you scroll down a little bit, you have the opportunity to fill in your goals for yourself. So I invite you, I'm going to stop speaking for just a moment. And I invite you each to really think about why you're online. What is your organizational purpose for being online? What are your marketing goals? And fill them in. And also, just so you know, it doesn't have to be one of the 5 things that were mentioned on that document. It could be things about getting more donations or getting volunteers. It could be about sharing people's stories and amplifying people's voices. It could be just to raise awareness for your cause, to position yourself as a thought leader, to share your educational resources. So you know your goals the best, why you do what you do. So have a think about it and fill them in. If you want, I'll put in this. And if you have your goals all ready to go, you can also feel free to drop them in the chat, because I would love to hear what your goals are. So I invite you to use the worksheet to write your goals. And once you fill them into the worksheet, you can drop them in the chat. And for those who might need it, here I'll show you the worksheet once again. So this is where you should be filling your goals in on the worksheet. You can see our example, and you can see here that you can fill in your goals right over here. All right, we got some goals in the chat. Goals, get people to volunteer, sign up for our events, raise awareness of our causes, programs, and gain partnerships for the greater good. That is perfect, amazing. Goals, increase community awareness about our health, increase community engagement, and grow our donor base. Perfect, amazing. My question is the lead to conversation and content writing for events. I don't understand the question. Do you want to ask it again, Cam? Okay, another goal, to connect with learning groups and other educational systems that make education convenient. Beautiful. I would add to that one, I would ask you to go a little bit deeper. So you have one goal, to connect with learning groups and other educational systems, but the question is, how can you use social media to do that? So for example, to raise awareness about your brand. Other goals, help girls find their voices and break the culture of silence in our community. Beautiful. How will you use social media to do that? What does that mean for being online? So do you want to share inspiration for girls? Do you want to connect with women's organizations and find partners? Do you need volunteers in order to do that? So we're really thinking in terms of social media and marketing. Okay, so Cam, I see your question, how to write content for leads to conversion and content writing for events. This workshop is less about how to write actual content, but we will dive into storytelling in phase 2. So stay tuned and maybe it will be helpful for you. All right, so amazing goal. Thank you so much for sharing. And we're going to keep moving forward, because now that we have our goals down, how do we get even more specific? What do these goals translate into? And the next phase when it comes to content planning are our content pillars, right? And our content pillars are the broader topics and themes that create the foundation of your content marketing. These are the things that make us specific and unique. These are the things that within our mission are the topics and themes that we want to talk about. So first of all, to be clear, there are general pillars, right? General pillars are for every brand, every organization, every personal brand or personal business. These are kind of the general content pillars that exist. So there's the brand pillar, which is really, again, your personal voice, your personality, how your organization or yourself shows up online, and what your voice is, right? For Good Deeds Day, our brand voice is optimistic and cheerful and professional. So how does your brand show up online, and how does that feed your content? Another pillar is the authority pillar. And this is how we position ourselves as leaders in our industry and our fields. Each of us we might all be on a mission to do good, right? But we all do focus on something specific. So whether it's empowering girls or helping the environment, we all kind of have a specific authority on a corner of the market. So how do we want to build that authority? Do we want to share information or education? This is another kind of pillar of content that we can focus on. Another pillar is our community pillar. And this is a really, really important one. This is how we reach our audience, how we grow our audience, how we engage with our audience, how we interact with our community, and how our community interacts with us, right? So this is a very important pillar. Inspirational pillar. This is, the quotes and the graphics and the shares and just kind of the light things that move people into action. And then there's the promotional pillar. The promotional pillar has to do with the events that we run and the programs that we do, and basically the values and the offers that we're promoting actually know about our services or our programs or the opportunities that we offer. Any questions on any of the general pillars? Because next up, we're going to go even one step deeper, because there's the general pillars, right? This is how content shows up online. And then there's what's your point, right? what is your specific focus? What are the things that you are doing in your organization that you want to bring to the table? And often I think about this as if we're all sitting around a dinner table, what are the things that you would speak up about and make sure that you want to talk about and you want to bring into our conversation? So for example, for Good Deeds Day, this is what it looks like on the document that you have. But for Good Deeds Day, what's really, really important to us is leadership and corporate social responsibility. First, we want everyone to know that we consider them a leader and that everyone is a leader, and good business is also very important to us. Another one of our pillars is education and resources. We have so many tools to share, and we want to be an educational resource for organizations. Another pillar is about taking action and volunteering. Volunteering is the core of the work that we do. So that is a very important pillar for us. And we don't just want to talk about volunteering. We want to give you tools to take action, right? So this is one of our important pillars. Another one of our pillars is the partner spotlight and Good Deeds Day news. And, you know, it's not about Good Deeds Day internal team. It's about what the organization, what our partners, what our networks are doing. And so we have so many amazing partners on this call and on other calls and just in general that we want to make sure that the partner spotlights are a big part of our content and our pillars. And it's why we do the work that we do. And then our last pillar is all about inspiration and ideas. We want to make sure that everyone has what they need and has different ideas to just motivate themselves for good. So the next part in our planning phase is an invitation for each of you to go to the worksheet, head to the next tab over. After goals, there's a pillars tab, and you can see this as an example in the top of your worksheet, and you can scroll down a little bit and you can fill in your own points of focus. And again, these are kind of the keywords that make your content unique, that you really want to talk about, the values that your organization focuses on, and it can really help you focus what we're going to build our stories around. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as well. And if anyone is ready, you're more than welcome to drop your points of focus into the chat, because this is also a really great place to share information, to get inspired by each other, and to get to know our partners a little bit better. All right, take about 30 more seconds here. And if you're ready to go, there's in the chat. And 5 is just, by the way, 5 is just an invitation. You can choose 3, you can choose 7, but I think 5 is a really great place to start. Okay, I see. So Bola posted his pillars: community engagement, leadership, livelihood of poor community, policy advocacy, knowledge generation and sharing. Beautiful, really beautiful. I would I would probably shift the livelihood of poor community into a storytelling piece, right? Any more pillars to drop in the chat? All right, so while we're actually, okay, we have some. Okay, more pillars: community, volunteer spotlights, diverse services provided in each program, news, media, awards, and sharing our story, flyers of promo of upcoming events, new partnerships, motivation, inspiration for followers. Perfect. Really, really perfect. Beautiful. Storytelling, online advocacy. Yes. Skills development, education, capacity building. That sounds like one pillar to me, which is can all fall under education. Confident Girls Ambassador Volunteers. So that also sounds like storytelling about your volunteers, right? So now, just to take it one step deeper, I want to invite you to choose one of the pillars that you wrote out and head into your worksheet. And what I invite you to do, hold on, I'm going to share my worksheet with you. What I want to invite you to do is underneath that pillar, I want you to go a step deeper. So underneath the example here, you see under education and resources, you see another kind of different brainstorm, right? These are all the creative ideas that can fall under education and resources. So I sat down, I thought about our focuses, and I thought about all of the content that we could create in order to really buff up this pillar. So now, just for the next moment, I invite you to really brainstorm even more specific content. So for example, you know, Good Deeds Day is coming up in April. So we want to make sure to have a getting started guide and a 3-month guide. And we also wanted to offer a 10-step digital marketing plan. We also want to share this content calendar. So under each of these pillars, I invite you to choose one for now, the one that you might want to focus on to create your content around. And dive deeper into it. Okay, so what kind of content do you want to create about this pillar? And it doesn't have to be content that you already have, and you don't have to worry about the how you're going to create this content or where you're going to create this content. You just need to kind of let the ideas flow. So for the next minute, I also invite you to just brainstorm creative ideas under one specific pillar. And that can also just get the juices flowing when it comes to knowing where you're going to get your content from, or knowing the kind of content that you want to create. Okay, so just take a minute, give yourself a creative brainstorm. There are no bad ideas. You can always delete, but dive a little bit deeper into at least one pillar. And you can see the examples above, so you can use that as your inspiration. All right, So this is just, again, this is just getting started, right? I really invite you to take an hour or two at the start of every week or at the start of every month or the end of every month and really sit down and brainstorm what kind of content it is you want to create. What are the points that you want to dive deeper into? And also, while we're here, our next tool is all about the schedule. So I just want to give you a little tour of this document so you can learn how to use it and take it with you. It's yours, but so you can really learn how to use it to the best of its capacity. So first we started with the social media goals, and this is our why, this is our aim, this is our target, right? Then we went to the pillars, we dove a little bit deeper, and this is where we're getting closer to what kind of content you really want to create. So we're really building up a whole creative document about consuming our content. Next up in this tab, we have our notable days. So you can see that we're kind of getting to the end of the year, but this is something that you can fill out 3 months ahead of time, 6 months ahead of time. You can already start planning for the next 6 months just to see what days in the calendar are notable for you. What are the national holidays, international holidays? What are the content days that you might want to dedicate energy to or dedicate a piece of content to? What are the events and programs and opportunities coming up within your own organization that you can also drop into the calendar? And this is where you can also just begin to map out your schedule, begin to map out your year. And this is a very important tab because it will help you build this calendar. And this calendar is the next phase in creating our full content plan. So you'll see here, this is an example of exactly what our social media calendar looks like. This is a document that I work off of every day. And you can see, this is the month. We have a theme of the week. Every theme of the week is listed on the side. Every day you could see Mondays and Thursdays, we post a blog post. Yesterday we posted about our content workshop. Wednesdays, we like to post about our partners or spotlight. Fridays, we post about good ideas. You can see we normally work with Facebook. So this is kind of, this is our base, our foundation. And we also post on Instagram and Twitter a few times a week. This is whether the post is scheduled. So also this is for you to work with and create your own. This is how it works for us, but I really invite you to see what works best for you. If you're only focused on one platform, delete these 2 lines and just see what's scheduled or not. But you can really see that this is a place for you to kind of, again, take all of your content ideas and put them into a bigger picture. Now, this is something at the beginning of every month or the end of the month, I'm always posting for the next month, right? So even today is the 3rd. So a few days ago, I sat down, I filled out November and sometimes December or January. So, sometimes you can post, even if you choose to start with posting a week ahead of time, but really I invite you to start thinking a month ahead of time. Eventually, then you'll start thinking 3 months ahead of time and then 6 months ahead of time. And if you want to go for the gold, you can start even creating this kind of calendar for the year and just copy paste. You'll see here, also you have your own calendar to work off of. So this is your calendar to start filling in your content ideas. Again, you can change the colors if you want. And then we're going to go even one step deeper. And we're gonna, we're actually diving into the content. And so while the calendar offers us the big ideas, this is where we're actually getting into the nitty gritty and the meat of our content. So you can see here, these are the posts that we need to create for the week. This is what's ready, the day, the date. This is the theme of the week, the channels where we want to post. This is the content that we'll be posting. And this is the text. So this is where we actually write the Facebook posts. I always start kind of with Facebook as the base and then translate it to the next platform. So if it's LinkedIn, making it a little bit more professional. If it's Twitter, making it a little bit more conversational, adding the link, the type or the graphic that's needed, and then the call to action. Now, this is also something that you can work with on your own. This is something that you can share with your team. And this is basically just the start of a working document to get your content plan in order. So any questions about the schedule for now? I know this is a lot of information, and Excel is its own beast, but I promise you that the more you really commit to filling in the schedule and filling out the tabs and kind of really getting your mind organized around it, the more clear and easy it will be. And this is also just what I mentioned, right? On the schedule, we need to know when we're posting, we need to know where we're posting, we need to know what we're posting, we need to know who we're talking to, and we need to know why we're posting, because so often we also just feel like we need to post or be on social media because everyone else is, but it's not the case. And so often we really can get caught up in what everyone else is doing instead of being very focused and clear on our own goals. So the schedule can really help keep us focused and clear. This is an example, and it's your turn, which you already actually, I'm gonna let you fill in the schedule after this workshop. And we're going to keep actually moving forward. But before we do that, maybe let's check if there's any questions. Okay. You see, Lucy has a question. You have theme on the calendar. Is that a recommended thing to do, as well as pillars and goals? I like having a theme. It's actually something I started doing only a few months ago. But I think that having a theme can really, for the content world, or for the internal content world, right? The external world doesn't necessarily need to know that there's a theme of the week. But in my content planning world, if I know that the theme of the week is good business, then I know exactly what kind of content I'm looking for. I'm looking for business articles for professionals, for corporate social responsibility. I know what our newsletter is about. I know what kind of posts we'll be sharing. I know what keywords to search for within our blog posts. So honestly, the theme of the week is more a tool for me to be able, and my team, to be able to know what are the things that we're focusing on for this week. So I recommend it, but again, it's something that is totally up to you. And do you use a central scheduler, or do you schedule these on individual platforms? So we use Hootsuite, which is a really great scheduling platform, which you can link up to most social media accounts, I believe. Sometimes Hootsuite gives me problems, so we'll just schedule it directly on Facebook. And now also the Facebook Creator Studio also allows you to schedule posts for Instagram. So mostly I like to centralize everything and post everything on Hootsuite. So that's always the plan A. Any other questions? Thank you for asking. All right, guys, let's shake it out. Let's move a little bit in our shares. We just handled a lot of information. Planning it's not always the funnest part, but I promise you that it's really the foundation of a good content plan. And once you kind of get the groove of your own schedule and routine, it just makes it easier. I know that, Mondays are the day that I'm sitting and I'm organizing my mind around the content. So by just doing this in our own internal systems, the content flows a lot easier. I promise. All right, so we've shaken it out. Can we get a hands up if we're ready to move on to the next phase, which is producing a piece of content? All right. So, okay, I see lots of hands up. Yalla, let's do this. So we have the basics now of building our content calendar. We have our goal, we have our big mission, we have our social media goals, we have our pillars and our focus, we have our creative brainstorm. And now let's get down to the nitty gritty. How do we actually produce a post? How do we take all of this information and turn it into a piece of content? So the question is, here we go. We have 3 things that we need to do. Oh, I see Noreen raised a hand. Noreen, do you have a question? All right, I'm going to keep moving, Noreen, and we'll get to your question. Oh, I hear you.
Okay, hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm listening from Zimbabwe. Okay, I've got a
Yes, hello
question.
to Zimbabwe.
How are you? I'm glad to be part of this panel. Do you really share some sample of good concept with your students? Because like myself, I joined later because of power. We had no power this side, so it just connected right now. So I wanted to know if you can at least assist those who are struggling with their concept or proposal writing.
So actually, thank you for asking that question. I'm gonna offer everyone on this call my inbox. So once you produce your post, you can send me what you've written, and I'll be very happy to give you one-on-one feedback. So that's number 1. But now let's get to actually producing the post. And Noreen, if you just listened, then maybe you can speak to one of our team members, Tova or Hannah, and they'll, if you have a question for them, they can help catch you up. So for producing a post, what do we need? First of all, you were each asked before this workshop to choose a visual. What's a photograph that really speaks of your work and is meaningful to you and is important to you? So I invite you to also bring that visual up right now and have it in your eyesight. Number 2, we need to know why we chose this visual. So now we're coming back to what is our pillar and our point, right? So how does this visual relate to one of the topics that we want to bring to the table? And then number 3, what is the action that we want people to take? So what can we feed from this story? And what do we want to inspire people to do? So these are the things that we're going to dive a little bit deeper into now. And this is us really, again, this is going deeper and deeper because we started off with our all-encompassing mission. Now we're choosing a pillar. We want to create a connection point, and we're inviting people to zone in on that call to action. What do we actually want them to do? So before we actually get into writing our story, and inspired by our visual and our point, then let's talk about what is a good story, right? And let's go back to that ancient idea of sitting around a campfire. We all know what a good story is. It's that kind of story that makes us lean in, makes us listen a little bit more, makes us feel something, right? So the question is, how can we translate that into a story? Here are just some basic ideas to keep in mind as you write your post. And it's all about really how we serve our audiences, right? Because there's the stories that we want to tell, and then there's the stories that people want to hear. So our job as content creators and people who really have amazing stories to share is to find that middle ground and kind of serve both sides, right? So what makes a good story? First of all, there's a start, there's a middle, and there's an end. Second of all, it's emotional. It makes us feel something. It touches a part of us that hasn't been touched in a while, right? It's that connecting point. It's relatable. It's again, like speaking of connection, it's something that no matter who you are, how you are, what you are, we all have human aspects that can be related to. So it's relatable. V is for visual. Even when you don't have a photograph or a high quality visual, you can still invite people into the story by filling it with your senses, right? By inviting people to imagine that they were there, to make us feel like we're really in it. So I do think that every good story creates some kind of visual setting, or it also includes a photograph or a video. And E is for expansive, right? A good story teaches us something or leaves us with a powerful message or expands our perspective or our mind or our knowledge in some way. Now, before we get to writing our story, these are just some questions to start thinking about. So taking your visual, taking your point, and taking your action, you can think about, okay, what do you, first of all, who is your audience? What platform are you writing on? What do you need them to know? Why do they need to know it? And what action do you want them to take? And as you're here, I invite you to head to, you can do it in any document that you want, but I invite you to take the next 3 minutes and actually write a post. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, I have to show you the examples of the post. Stay with me, people. All right. So before we actually get into writing our story, I'm not just going to leave you hanging. I'm definitely going to show you examples of some social media posts. So this is example number 1. And this is an example of this workshop, right? We had over, I think, close to 400 people sign up for this workshop, some very familiar names, some new names. And our goal here was to get more signups. We wanted to promote this event. So you can see this post includes a relevant visual. It includes an opening question, which is a really great way to engage communities and audiences, is an opening question. A very short and easily readable description, call to action, and a short tracking link. So you can see that this is just a short and sweet promotional kind of post. The next example is where we wanted to spotlight our partner. So this is one of our partners from Good Deeds Day Malawi. Shout out to Malawi. And this is, you know, they shared their personal photos with us. The pillars here are brand and community. Also, just a note that not everything is just going to fall under one category. We live in a very overlapping world, right? So there could be more than one pillar. So this one falls under brand and community. It includes a headline, a visual, the emojis, a short partner story, and tagging our partners. So you can see, you know, 6 organizations collaborated with one mission, clean up Lake Malawi as part of World Cleanup Day. What a beautiful sight that we're sure is even more beautiful after these volunteers. And we tagged our partners. So you can see again, kind of building this short and sweet story around what's going on in these pictures. And the last example is our goal was to just engage and inspire our audience. The pillar was all about inspiration and community. We wanted to spotlight World Teachers Day because everyone knows and loves a teacher. And you can see here that we also did a call to action, which is tag a teacher you know and love. So we had a bright visual. We jumped on a global hashtag trend, which is a really great way of amplifying your audience, growing your audience, and also really jumping onto this global trend. We had super relatable text and of course a call to action, which is tag a teacher you know and love. And this post is one of the ones that hands down did the best. So each of these is an example of how you can begin to build out your social media storytelling and content storytelling by maybe things that you wouldn't necessarily think of as stories. So, okay, now it's your turn. I invite you to take your picture. I invite you to think about what one of the topics or points that you have and what you want people to do. And take a few minutes and write 3 to 4 sentences about this picture. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. And I'm going to be quiet for the next moment so you can get your focus on. And if you're ready to share your post, you can also feel free to share it in the chat. All right, how's everyone doing? Mission complete. We have a post ready to go, ready to share. Does anyone want to share their post in the chat? Actually, I believe we have an amazing volunteer who sent us your picture beforehand. Esha, would you like to volunteer to share your post in the chat? And maybe we can get the picture up on the screen as well. So another point to make is whether you feel ready or not, a first draft is always necessary. So know that it's not always going to be perfect, but really we have to start somewhere, right? And so again, we're all just in this process of getting closer and closer and diving deeper and deeper into what our real focus is and how we can translate that online to our audience. And this is all just a trial and error, right? So if you want to volunteer to also get feedback, if you want to share your post in the chat, don't be shy. This is a learning space. This is an experimental space. So, you know, by showing up here, we're all learning together. Okay, and we have this beautiful picture. Esha. Oh, and I see you shared your post in the chat. Awesome. Okay, so Esha, would you like to unmute yourself? And let's see what you shared. We strive to make Nest for Us by Youth for Youth, with young people on the front lines of positive change. Youth voices have the power to spark a ripple of meaningful social change, and through Nest for Us, we're proud to show the world that you don't need to be of a certain age or background to change the world.
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't letting me unmute. I was trying to unmute, but I think it was disabled. Yeah, that's
oh,
our
good.
post.
Hello, Esha.
Yeah, and also my sister Shreya is on the call as well, who's also part of Nest for Us. So
hello, Sister Shreya. We're so happy to have you, and we're so happy for the work that you do. And I would love to know, actually, Esha, and what's happening in this picture? Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, so basically this was one of our service projects for Good Deeds Day. And we were packing treat bags, I believe. This is in Maryland. It's one of our service projects with a bunch of youth volunteers, which you can see here on the screen as well. And yeah, it was a super fun event. We packed hundreds of bags, which benefited underprivileged kids and homeless individuals all across our community. And it was just such a great event. I mean, Shreya, you have anything else to add about it? Oh, she can't unmute, but I think that's pretty much it.
Okay, I can
Oh, she
admit
can.
I can. Yeah, no, Isha pretty much covered it. And it was just really nice to have volunteers from we had from different states, and then we had people in our community actually donate in-kind donations as well. And so it was just a very nice community effort, and we all have our Good Deeds Day shirts on, which is really nice. And it was just a great way to spread generosity and get our
Highlight youth
community involved.
voices.
Definitely. Yeah.
Beautiful, amazing. So there's one thing that really stood out to me, because Esha, I think you wrote a beautiful post. Hold on, let's go back to your words. Hold on. Okay, we strive to make Nest for Us by youth for youth. So it's a beautiful post, right? But the moment you told me you took service project into, we packed 100 bags, we had volunteers from this state and this state. The moment you got more specific with the information that you shared about what's going on in this moment, that's when your story really started to come out. So even I would say, like, you know, who are these volunteers? What happened the moment before you took this picture? Is this the end of the day? Is this the beginning of the day? Where are you? What town are you in? You know, how old are your youth? Where do they come from? What are their interests? And really inviting you to go even deeper into the stories of what is going on in this visual, because it's a beautiful visual. And I want to know more about the stories behind it, right? What do you think? Oh wait, we have to unmute you. I don't know.
Sorry.
How to unmute. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually just like a general caption, because I don't think we realized that it was supposed to be like the social media caption, but I had just copied and pasted the actual. I went back and I copied it from the post that we posted, and we did say Maryland Youth Volunteers, hundreds of bags, like thanking our photographer and all that. So I just put the actual post in the chat, as well as we do have hashtags, but it's super long, so I didn't want to like copy all of that. But this was the actual post, which included the items that we talked about as well.
Amazing. And also, just as a curiosity, is there any action that you want people to take after seeing this post, or is this more inspiration, storytelling?
I think this is more inspiration storytelling, but also like looking on our website for more like service projects like this one would be like another way to take action. And Shreya, I think, wants to say something else.
Yeah, go ahead, Shreya.
Yeah, we always on all our posts we add our website as like a link, and so people can go and access our website anytime, because that's really where we have like our events, our upcoming events, and all our information about our programs and all that. And so that's kind of whether we directly say it or not in our posts, that link is always there. So it's just an easy way for our followers or anyone that comes across that post to find out whatever they need to find out about Nest for Us. And so we always make sure that's like one of the like staples of our posts is including our website. And so, yeah. Isha did a nice job of summarizing it.
Yeah, it's also on our link tree as well. We have like many links, like registering for events, as well as our website. And I think there's like a contact thing on our Instagram as well, which has all of the links as well. So.
Amazing. Amazing. I would just, as one more note, especially if it's something that you always do consistently, I would play with the call to action, right? And see really, because if you're using social media as a tool to get people to your website, then how can you engage more people to get them there? You'll be surprised at, the difference between just posting a link and then saying, go here. And just even playing with that could just be a little bit of a difference. I love the work that you do. I know we all at Good Deeds Day love the work that you do. So thank you for volunteering and for sharing a little piece of your story. We really appreciate it. I see a couple more posts in the chat. So let's see. Okay, now I see your post, Esha, in the chat. Oh, that's perfect. Guys, read this post. It's great. Okay, I also see Barbara posted, join SOSA and the company that we're partnering with and becoming the solution to food waste and food insecurity in your neighborhood. We welcome you to sign up on our website, call or email and become a volunteer. Next opportunity in your area. This is a very nice, also general post. Again, I think that one of the keys in terms of content storytelling is really getting specific. So we welcome you to sign up on our website, call or email and become a volunteer. So I would, we had that content funnel of all the different kinds of posts that exist. I would create one post for signing up on our website, one post for becoming a volunteer, one post for spotlighting a partner. And then this also becomes all of your different kinds of content, right? So that's just a note, Barbara. So now actually what I would love for all of us to do, because we're all likely very wise. Oh, I see Anthony asked, should hashtags be used? I think it depends on the platform. I think Facebook less, but I think you can post hashtags. And again, like if it's a universal hashtag trend, then I would always use the hashtag. Twitter, yes. Instagram, yes. I think hashtags are just a way to get people really keyed in onto what conversation you're jumping into. So guys, these posts are amazing. So what I'd like us to do for the next 10 minutes is really use each other as resources. And what we'll do is we'll break out into rooms of 3 or 4. Each of you will have an opportunity to share your visual, to share your post. And if you can't actually share your visual in the chat, that's okay. You can just talk about it. And again, give people a sense of why they're there and get feedback from each other. So this is an invitation to really ask clarifying questions. Here, I'll offer you some questions that you can actually ask to each other and use each other as resources to get more clear on what it is that you can kind of improve your post on, right? So some questions to ask is, do you know who you're speaking to? Do you make your point crystal clear? What does it make you feel? Do you offer something valuable? And do you have a clear call to action? Okay, so these are just some questions that you can ask each other in the chat. And the intention with this breakout room is to really just help each other get more clear on what our storytelling is, what our post shares, and share wisdom and resources. Is everyone clear on that? Because we're going to break out, have about 2 to 3 minutes to share, and we'll keep track of time as well. So if you're ready to go, then we'll launch the breakout rooms and you'll be invited to join a room. If for some reason there's no one else in your room, you can come back to the main room and we'll make sure that you get put into a room where there are more humans. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, onwards. You should see a pop-up on your screen which says join. So if you're not joined, the invitation is to join.
Feel free to join a group, even if you didn't finish writing your post, if you want to get inspiration from someone else or give some feedback. These don't have to be in any way completely complete. We're just starting wherever you are. So go ahead and join.
Hello, is everyone back with us? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Hello. How was it, guys? Are you wiser now? Have you connected? Have you learned something? Does anyone have something that they'd like to share about what they learned or realized in the room? A point that could be helpful for all of us? I would love to hear from one person how those rooms were and what you may have learned about your content or your story. Does anyone want to share? All right, so we can keep going. So the intention behind those rooms was really just, we all have something to share. We all have a story to share, and we're all essentially reflections of each other. So also, when we know the right questions to ask, or when we have a listening ear, or when we have another face to connect with, it's also just helpful in how we organize our minds, how we focus our stories, the language that we use. So this is also just something to keep in mind. Content planning could easily be a team effort, right? Because it's really storytelling. So with that said, we should all kind of have a piece of content ready to go. And as an invitation to each of you, I would really love to invite you to email me with your picture and your post in a Google Doc, and I'll be happy to share feedback on your post personally. It's for my inbox is open for the next week, and I would love to just help you with your story, help you focus, and amazing. And if you've already done it, great, then you're on it. I'll get back to you in the next week. And yeah, use me as a resource to help really refine your language, refine your story, and figure out how you can better amplify your voice. There is one question in the chat I saw from Mac. I just want to, you shared your post in the chat, which is awesome, which says, Christmas is approaching quickly, meaning it's the time of year to give. We at the Cape Fear Volunteer Center provide Christmas for hundreds of kids in the Cape Fear region, and we need help this year. If you are unable to donate this year, we ask that you please like and share our post. Happy holidays. So, I mean, this is a beautiful post. It shares your message very clearly. It has a very clear call to action. It's clearly all about fundraising or sharing. What I would focus on is really what value you're bringing to the audience, right? So it's not necessarily about what you do, it's about how their gift can support who you support. So I would challenge you, Mac, to try thinking from the inside out perspective. So instead of what we do for them, think about how they do for us, and try to play with that switch of story and see maybe how it impacts this post and makes it more relatable in a different way. Because like you said, there's lots of posts where people ask for giving. So how can you put more of the story and your personal voice and value and your organizational voice and value into this post? So that is my challenge for you. And if you want to send it to me as a second draft, I'd be super happy to give you specific feedback. All right. So moving on, people, are we good? We need another shakeout, because I know that also that was a lot. There's a lot of information going down in this workshop. And I hope that you're taking at least some of it in. And next phase is all about promoting, right? So we've already dove into our big mission. We've focused on our social media goals. We've talked about our pillars and our points. We've focused even more deeply in what conversation we want to bring to the table. We've started to build out those content ideas. We have a schedule that is ready to be filled in. We've started working on a piece of content with a visual, with an action that we want to invite people to take. So how do we share it out? What do we do now? So here, this is also built with the knowledge that as nonprofits, we don't really have lots of budget for marketing or advertising or to put on any social platform. So all of these tips are really something that are used for organic marketing. And I really invite you to infuse what you need and what you learn here, and just take that with you and know that, that we don't need lots of money, but we do have lots of resources. So how can we use our resources to really amplify this story? So here are all the things to do. Okay. So to do is to post in the right place. So determine where your audience is and post there. If your goal is, 35 to 55-year-olds, maybe Facebook is your best platform. If it's 20 and under, maybe you should be heading for TikTok. So with over 100 social media platforms, the intention with this tip is to know that you don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to post everywhere. You can focus on one platform, 2 platforms, and let that build your foundation. Make sure that's where your audience is. And that can also really relieve all of this overwhelm of having to post everywhere, and really just post in the right place where your audience already is. Use quality visuals. So video is 100% the most engaging piece of content there is. However, I think that using high quality visuals or photos is really important, even if it's graphics, but using quality visuals, again, like pulling that person into the story. A picture speaks 1,000 words. So the visual that you add is really, really important. If we're just reading text in the chat, we can easily kind of get swayed away and not deeply connect. But the moment you have a visual to connect with, it makes it much easier and relatable. So add visuals to your posts. Jump on trending topics. So like I mentioned in the examples, we hashtagged World Teachers Day, World Cleanup Day. And if the trending topic is relevant to what your field is, what your cause is, what your mission is, use your voice, jump into the conversation and hashtag, because that's how more people find you. And that's the power of social media, is to jumping into the active global conversation. I see this question, I'll answer it in a minute. Map your content sources. So sometimes it gets very overwhelming to figure out how we're going to create all this content. So what you can do, and you can even add a tab in the main sheet, is to map your content sources. So where are you going for content? What kind of content do you want to create? Do you get most of your content from the events that you do, or when you have volunteer meetups? Do you have a specific publication or blog that you visit and you know you can always source articles from there? So really, by mapping your content sources, this is kind of helping you to build the blueprint of all of this content that you will either create or collect, right? Or curate, because we don't need to recreate the wheel. We don't need to create all of our content, but by kind of creating this hub of our content sources, then this makes it easier for us to plan content throughout the month. Do use relevant hashtags. Again, I mentioned that on specific platforms. Do tag relevant partners in your post. So again, the like sharing is caring. So when you have partners that complement or cooperate or collaborate with you, it's only helpful to kind of cross-pollinate. When we tag each other, we expand our reach and our growth, and we meet new eyes. And especially in the nonprofit world, it's really all about cooperation. There's no real competition here. So really, the more we can kind of support each other and amplify each other's voices, the better for all of us. We're stronger together, right? Do use audience insights. So every social media platform has a way to determine which posts are more successful, when your audience is online, what your stats and your metrics are. And so I really invite you to use them, right? Because if you know that your audience is online on Wednesday nights at 8, then you can post on Wednesday nights at 8. If you know that a specific post got 50 comments, you know you need to post something like that again. So by using your audience insights, this is where you could get more clear, more focused, and more strategic on the kind of posts and the times that you need to be focusing on. This is also Cam. This kind of answers your questions as well about the age group audience. Every platform also should have metrics about the audience age and the gender and the times that they're online. So in general, you know, I would say Facebook is like, I would maybe say 30 to 65 and up. Instagram is more, 20 to maybe like 50s. TikTok is probably like teens to 25. You know, every platform has its own age group. And again, that's also always changing. So this is the world of digital marketing. Today, maybe that's what it is. Tomorrow, it could be totally different. So what's really important is that you know who your audience is and what your where your audience lives and which platform they live on. And this could also just be a trial and error as well. Do create micro content. This means that we have one post and we don't just post it and leave it, right? This means that from that one post, we can create many posts. So for example, like I mentioned, I always start with kind of like the basis of a Facebook post. And then from there, I create a Twitter post, an Instagram post, a LinkedIn post, maybe a blog post. I stick it in the newsletter. So it's not really one and done, right? Only 10% of people might see your content. So by posting it again and again and again, you're just inviting more people to see your post. So I really invite you to play with this. It's not one and done, but use one piece of content to create 5 or 6 more posts. Do be active and post in groups. This is a great way to engage with your growing network and audience. And it's not also something that shouldn't be a marketing post where we just drop something in a group and then run. But really, we have to become the names and the faces that that people get to know, right? Today, we want authenticity, we want transparency, we want to see the people behind the screen, we want to be able to connect face to face. So the more you can really stand up personally for your cause and show up in different groups, then the more people will connect with you, your mission, your goals, your cause, and et cetera, et cetera. That's the long-term game of content planning. It's not something that happens overnight. It's really long-term relationship building. Do collaborate with partners. For example, even with Points of Light, we both do good. We both have volunteers. We both offer educational resources. And so we really have this beautiful complementary partnership that allows us to not start everything or recreate the wheel, but really play with each other's strengths and support one another in this partnership. So again, find these complementary partners that work in your industry, work in your field, and share resources, share tips, find ways to connect. Do interact with your network. Your community is what matters most. So by connecting and engaging with your community, and I mean both online and offline. So digital marketing is a tool to also connect offline. So no matter where you are, talk about your mission, talk about your cause, talk about what matters to you, talk about your goals in a way that is personal to you, right? And do appreciate the one. So very often we can make a post and there's crickets, there's nobody on it, but sometimes there's a like or a comment or a share. And so really the invitation here is to appreciate that one engagement, that one interaction, because every like, every comment is every share is a person behind the screen. And when we have screens in between us, it's really easy to forget that it's a person behind the screen. But really, when we think of each like as one person, it can help us keep that motivation up and help us grow and help us really connect in a conversational way with that person, whoever they are. If there are any questions, I'm just spieling, guys, but if there's any questions, you could still feel free to drop them in the chat. Okay, so for promoting, here are some don'ts. So don't be everywhere. Again, social media is very overwhelming and it can often feel like if everyone's doing it, we have to do it too. But I really invite you to stay very focused on the platform that works for you. If you're everywhere, you're nowhere, and you're spreading your energy and you're spreading your resources. So the more you can focus on that one platform, the better. Don't be someone else, right? It's okay to get inspired by what other people are doing, but we want to stay attached and we want to stay connected with our own voice, our own brand, our own authority, because that's what people will connect to in the end. Don't think once is enough. Again, by posting that one and done post, we're just wasting valuable content. So allowing yourself to kind of reuse and recycle content is better for everyone, right? Because your audience is more likely to engage and see it, and you get some breathing room in how you create your content. Don't post and run. If you're expecting people to engage with your content, you should also be engaging with your content, okay? It's something that you also really need to stay attuned to. Don't copy paste. Again, there's things that might work for other people that aren't going to work for you. So it's okay to kind of see what works and what doesn't from people in the industry, but how can you make it your own? How can you make it unique and specific to you and your cause, your mission, your organization, and your team? Don't rush the process. Digital marketing, social media, content storytelling, it's a long-term game, and our mission is really to build up these bigger networks, these broader networks that are really doing good in the world. So it's not going to happen overnight. So don't rush the process. We're all in this together. There's lots to learn, as we can see. There's lots to share, as we can see. So don't rush the process. Breathe, take it slow, and know that social media and digital marketing, it's a process, right? So every day is a new step. Every day we learn something new. Don't focus on yourself. Again, this is not what we can necessarily offer, but what we want our audience to, what value we can provide for our audience, right? So when we think about content storytelling, we can think about it as, what does the audience need to hear versus what is it we want to share, and find the mutual meeting point in the middle. Don't be inconsistent. So even if you choose to post once or twice a week, show up and consistently show up. So if you choose to post on that Wednesday evening when all of your audience is online, show up and be consistent about it, because that's how your audience gets to know you, gets to trust you, and gets to connect with you. Don't speak to everyone. When you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. Who are you talking to? Donors, volunteers, parents, teachers. Who is it that you're speaking to? Be as specific as possible. And really focus when you're writing your posts, really focus on as if you're just having a conversation with someone, as if that person is sitting in front of you. What are the important things to mention and share there? And don't get discouraged. There's a lot of information in this industry and this field. There's always going to be more to know. And so really I really believe that the good stories and the good people need to be heard and need to be shared. And we are here and we are growing and we are amplifying and we are getting stronger together. So just remember that and don't give up and keep sharing your stories and keep knowing that the work that you're doing is very, very important. And we're here to support you however we can. And next steps, we have about 10 minutes left, so we're perfect timing. After this, we can take some more questions and shares, but you basically now have all of the tools to get started, right? You know your goals, you know your pillars, you know your audience. You can fill in your content calendar. You can start to map out your schedule, choose your platform. You choose your visual. You can focus on your point. You can write your posts. You can finalize your posts. You can send me that post and I'll give you feedback. And then you can share it out, right? And then of course you just repeat, because this is the nature of content planning. There's always more content to share. There's always ideas. The question is, how can we really organize our minds around it and build routines and structures around it so that it flows more easily and that it doesn't feel overwhelming. And from this point, I really hope that you take the tools that we've offered you. You start filling in the worksheet. You can review this recording if you need. You can also feel free to continue to ask us questions, because we'd like to do more workshops and offer more resources for you to be able to share your story and basically just spread more good in this world. So, you can also just take it slow. And a final note, social media is, in my mind, one big experiment. It's all trial and error. So if something doesn't work, try something different. And if that thing doesn't work, try something different. And eventually we reach a point where those things work, and being consistent and showing up and doing good, those things work. So just keep going, good people. And with that said, I think I've spoken enough for tonight. You guys have done a great job, and I hope that you take your posts and that it was helpful for you to kind of take this process and help you zone in on how to really take these big ideas and bring them into a post. And for the final few minutes, I'd love to turn it over to you, crew, and hear any questions that you have to share, hear any takeaways from this workshop. What's the one thing that you learned here that you're really going to take with you? And what action are you going to move forward in doing? And also just to note that we're all in different places when it comes to content planning. There's no one ahead and there's no one behind. You are perfectly exactly where you are. So the question is, what are you willing to commit to for today, for tomorrow to do in order to get more clear on your content plan? If anyone has any questions, takeaways, I would love to hear. Actually some voices. So how about we have someone unmute themselves and just share what you're taking away from this workshop and your next step?
If you guys want to just raise your hand, and Zoe, if you want to close out sharing your screen, we can see everybody, and then we can go ahead and, oh, here's someone has their hand raised. Kudzai. So let's start with you.
Okay, thank you very much. I joined in later on, but one thing which I learned is never be discouraged. I have also been trying to put some content on our Twitter and Facebook pages of the organization I work with, and sometimes you get less replies. So this workshop has given me hope on how I need to improve on the content I've been putting on social media and how to make it, to keep it trending. So I'm so grateful.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, keep on keeping on. That's the world of content. I saw another hand raised before.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm so glad to be here because surely this is going to help my social media engagement. I do post on social media, but not much. But I could see now that if one has a very well-prepared content and you are consistent, then you'll be able to have a very good engagement on social media. This is going to actually help me, and I will love you to please view the next step again. I want to catch them and I want to do the assignments actually, because I want to really, really know how to go about this. I've had my organization for the past 11 years and we have been doing so many things. But what people always tell me is that you are doing so much, but you are telling us so little. So I want to change that because we are having a new initiative now that we are working on. And I want that to get to a lot of audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll share the slides so you'll get all of the next steps.
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, and also I know you mentioned that you shared your post with me, so I'll also look forward to giving you feedback. I look forward to hearing your story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a takeaway or an action they want to share? I think Hannah also just popped open the poll. So these are just a few questions to answer before we close out, to see how this workshop was for you, to see if it was valuable. And also we'd love to keep doing these kinds of workshops and providing value for you. So your feedback is very, very helpful when it comes to this. So feel free to answer those questions. And how about, can we have one more person who wants to share maybe their action item or their takeaway? See, guys, I love hearing voices and your stories. So
hello.
Hello.
And before we finish, please let me appreciate the Good Deed for organizing this for your volunteers. I got to know about Good Deed just last year, and I'm so glad this is happening. Thank you so much for organizing this.
Thank you.
Very, very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, see, Cam has a question. Hello.
Hello. I've taken away to concentrate mainly on one platform, one social media channel. That was great information. I appreciate it because I've been focusing on 2 to 3. And I've been wondering, should I narrow it down? And you actually answered that question. So that right there was great. I already know what an audience is, but I wanted to make sure now that's going to help me out a little bit more. I already kind of know where they're at, but I'm not too for sure. So I got to do some more research on it. But that's my takeaway in the actual content writing, and to actually make out a schedule, which I started doing 2 weeks ago. And I'm proud of myself about that one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I hope that focuses your energies. And yeah, I think once we get one platform down, we can grow from there. But I think starting with one is perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I think we're coming up to the end. We have a couple of minutes left. So if y'all want to answer these few questions, Hannah, do you see the poll?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So take a moment, answer the questions. We'll also share some more resources and feedback with you. I'm going to stop talking now because I've been talking for a while. Hannah, I'm going to let you close off this workshop if you want to say anything else or share anything else. Thank you, Hearts, for showing up. It was really a pleasure. And I look forward to getting your emails so I can give you feedback.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Zoe. Thank you guys again for coming and being part and being active participants in this workshop. I hope this was really valuable for you. I really encourage you guys to first, we're going to send out this recording. So go back, go to one of the places that, you want to listen to again and, take it a bit slower. This was really just the start. So Zoe took us through identifying our pillars. We did that in just a few minutes. So really, we encourage you to spend some more time with it within yourself, or if you have a team that you can talk to, it's really helpful. Then basically apply this content writing exercise to each of the pillars so that you can really perfect it. And then second, of course, we've said this a few times, but Zoe's an amazing resource. Take her up on her offer to get some great assistance from her. Limited time only for the next week. So email her and she'll give you some great feedback to get going. And if any time in the future as well, you want to check in with us, like please do. We'll be sending out a survey after and would appreciate your thoughts on that. We're thinking to do more workshops specifically around content, but also other things around organizations and capacity building and just growth in general. So looking forward to hearing what you would like more of so we can offer that. And thank you guys again for your time and focus and being with us. Hope you all have a good rest of your days, and we will be in touch soon. And this will be going out, the recordings, the workshop, the worksheet will be going out to your emails shortly.
Thank you.
So thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.